Hello, my name is Kimberly and I serve on the board of SCOPE. My own educational journey began right here with SCOPE when I was homeschooled as a child, and I've had the privilege of homeschooling all 6 of my children with SCOPE as well. 3 have already graduated and are thriving in college, while I continue homeschooling my 3 high schoolers. Homeschooling allows us to really value what's missing in today's public schools: appreciation for family, culture, history, theology, and a biblical worldview. While we get to nurture each child's unique strengths and interests at their own pace. In this presentation, I'll share what SCOPE is, explain California's homeschool laws and requirements, introduce trusted resources, and encourage you with practical steps and tools to help you get started on your homeschooling journey. Let me first introduce you to SCOPE, the Sacramento Christian Organization of Parent Educators. SCOPE's not a school, it's a parent-led, volunteer-run network and nonprofit that has served families since 1984. Our mission is simple: to support and encourage private Christian parent-directed education in the greater Sacramento area. So we provide resources, training, community events, and a place where families can ask questions and find encouragement. You'll find more on our website, scopehome.org, or you can reach out directly by email. If you remember just one thing today, let it be this: you are not alone. Homeschooling can feel overwhelming at first, especially when you're trying to sort through all the information out there. It's easy to get confused. That's why support matters. We want you to be confident that you're on the right track. Many families start their homeschooling journey by looking online or on social media. While there's a lot of information out there, much of it is either outright wrong or it isn't specific to California law, or may even apply to other states entirely, which can cause confusion. That's why it's so important to know where to find accurate, trustworthy guidance. Let me share with you some organizations we recommend, groups that have faithfully supported families and defended our freedoms for decades. CHIA, Christian Home Educators Association of California, is our statewide homeschool organization and has been serving families since 1982. Their mission is threefold: advance the kingdom of Jesus Christ by promoting private Christian home education as an outstanding educational opportunity, providing information, training, and support to the homeschool community, and protecting the God-given right of parents to direct the education and training of their children. She has been a cornerstone of advocacy and support for over 40 years, and SCOPE is proud to be part of their member network. HSLDA, the Homeschool Legal Defense Association, is your advocate in the legal arena. They provide 24/7 legal protection for member families, defend homeschool freedoms in court, and work tirelessly to secure the best homeschool laws across the nation. Every family should consider membership. It's peace of mind and protection. Family Protection Ministry serves as our eyes and ears at the California State Capitol. Since 1986, they've been faithfully defending the rights of parents to educate and raise their children without government interference. They analyze and respond to every piece of legislation that could affect home education in California. For those who want hard data, whether for your own reassurance or to answer skeptical family members, the National Home Education Research Institute is invaluable. They collect, conduct, and publish research on homeschooling outcomes, showing the academic and social success of home-educated students nationwide. Before I explain California's homeschool laws, let me pause and give a clear disclaimer. I'm not an attorney, and this is not legal advice. What I'm sharing is a description of the current education laws in California as they apply to homeschooling. If you need specific legal counsel, please contact HSLDA or another qualified attorney. Here's what the law requires. Children must be enrolled in public school by the September 1st after their 6th birthday, but kindergarten is not required. California has many types of public schools, including campus-based, charters, and independent study programs. Some charters are campus-based, and others are non-classroom-based. While often referred to as homeschooling programs, these are public schools and are state-directed educational programs. In California, there are 2 legal ways to be exempt from public school attendance. The first is through a credentialed tutor. And the second, more common way is by enrolling in a private school. Private schools come in three forms: campus-based, private school satellite programs, or single-family private schools. These options are parent-directed, private, and must be based here in California. Students need to be enrolled in a California private school with a California address in order to meet the exemption. At Scope, our membership and ministry focus is specifically on these private and tutor options shown here in the bolded green. While there are other educational choices available in California, our mission is to support and encourage families pursuing parent-directed private Christian home education. Let's cover these options a little more in depth. Some families choose public school at home because the curriculum and materials are state-funded. But it's important to understand, in California, all charter and funded programs are legally defined as public schools. This means the program is directed by a credentialed teacher under state authority. Families must comply with state standards, testing requirements, and other regulations. The California Constitution, Education Code, and Department of Education prohibit sectarian or religious instruction during instructional hours and restrict funding to fully state-controlled education. The prohibition includes direct and indirect education of religious denominational doctrine. If you'd like to read the specific code sections, Family Protection Ministries provides them at fpmca.org. Due to these restrictions, Scope does not recommend these programs. The first exemption from public school attendance is the tutorial exemption. If a parent holds a valid California teaching credential for the grade levels and subjects being taught, they may homeschool under this provision. This option is less common, but it remains a valid path under state law. If you'd like more details on how to use this option and the specific requirements, you can get more information from Chia. The second exemption to public school attendance is enrolling in a private school satellite program. PSPs file a private school affidavit with the state and may be entirely homeschool-based or an extension of a campus-based private school. Legally, these programs hold the same standing as any other private school in California. These programs offer accountability, help with paperwork such as transcripts, work permits, and record keeping, yet leave parents free to direct the education of their own children, free from state restrictions on religion or curriculum. If you'd like a recommendation for a local PSP, we're happy to provide that to you. One important note here is that sometimes out-of-state schools offer enrollment to California students. However, California students are required to be enrolled in a California school. So if you use an out-of-state school or program, California law still requires children to be enrolled in a California private school, either a single-family private school or a private school satellite program with a California address. So out-of-state programs can be a helpful source of curriculum or services, but they don't count for legal compliance for a public school attendance exemption in California. It's best not to present them as your legal school enrollment, especially for purposes of community college enrollment or other state inquiries. You can use these schools as your curriculum. It's okay to use an out-of-state program, but it just won't exempt you from public school attendance unless you also enroll in a California-based private school as well. This can be confusing, so if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us at Scope or speak to an attorney at HSLDA. The third exemption to public school attendance is to establish your own private school in your home. California is one of 15 states where homeschooling is accomplished through the private school exemption. Parents may establish a private school in their home. This option gives families the freedom to direct their children's education while meeting California's legal requirements. I'll go into how to meet those requirements in a moment. At the heart of home education is the freedom to teach from a Christ-centered foundation. Faith isn't something squeezed in around the edges. It's the lens through which we view all of learning and life. Homeschooling gives families the flexibility to build school around life rather than life around school. It allows us to nurture our children in all areas: faith, character, family relationships, while still giving them the time and space to pursue their unique interests. And academically, the results speak for themselves. Children can learn at their own pace, mastering skills deeply without being rushed or slowed by a classroom schedule. Genuine progress that prepares them for whatever God calls them to do. Homeschooling's not just an alternative, it's an opportunity to raise the next generation with excellence, freedom, and faith. That's why Scope recommends private, parent-directed homeschooling as the best option, and why our membership and organizational goals are limited to this type of home education. Research confirms what we see every day: homeschooling works. According to the National Home Education Research Institute, homeschool students score on average 15 to 30 percentile points higher than public school students on standardized academic tests. They also do very well in college, often earning higher GPAs and graduating at higher rates than their peers. And beyond academics, the data shows homeschool graduates are more civically engaged, more likely to vote and volunteer, and they report strong life satisfaction. This is powerful encouragement. Homeschooling doesn't just meet the standard, it consistently exceeds it, preparing our children for both success in life and faithfulness in their calling. One of the most common fears parents have is, am I really qualified to teach my children? If you've ever asked yourself that, you're not alone. The truth is, you are qualified. Homeschooling isn't about having a teaching credential or a certain degree. It's about being the one who knows, loves, and is committed to your child's growth more than anyone else. And research confirms this. According to the National Home Education Research Institute, homeschool students score above average on achievement tests regardless of their parents' level of formal education or their family's income. In fact, whether a parent was ever a certified teacher has no measurable effect on their child's academic success. So what this tells us is that it's not about credentials. It's about commitment. Your love, your involvement, and your willingness to walk this journey with your children is what makes the difference. So you already have what it takes. Now that we've seen why you are fully qualified to homeschool, let's look at the simple requirements for operating as a single-family private school here in California. First, instruction must be in English and conducted during the daytime. This is very flexible. You choose the hours and schedule. You can choose a traditional schedule or choose to school 4 days a week year-round or work around trips and family life events. The requirement that instruction be in English has been clarified to mean that families can teach using other languages, but students should be learning English also. The instructor, in this case the parent, must be capable of teaching. And here's the key: that determination is made by you as the private school administrator, not by the state. Your qualification can be that you have a degree or that you've joined Scope or attended a CHIA homeschool conference, whatever you want to determine to be your qualification. Instruction should include the same general branches of study required in public schools, but this doesn't mean you must follow the same textbooks or pace. It simply means your program should cover core academic areas. You don't even need to cover every subject every day or even every year. You could focus on history for 3rd grade and science for 4th grade while doing math and English every year, or maybe save all your science experiments to do during the summer. It's up to you. Some records need to be maintained, so if you were in a traditional private school, the intention of these requirements is to provide accountability of the teachers to the parents. In this case, however, you're both the teacher and the parent, so in essence, you're keeping records to provide accountability to yourself. However, these are legal requirements and are helpful if your child transfers school enrollment at a later time. Attendance records. This means you should keep a calendar listing of the days your student is absent. Although it's not required, it's a good idea to aim for 160 to 180 days of school per year. There's no school year start date set by the state, so you can begin and end those days whenever you'd like. You should also keep report cards and transcripts. Again, these are for the benefit of parents and for transferring schools at a later time, so there's no need to turn them in to the state. You just keep them on file. The private school affidavit must be filed each year between October 1st and 15th and kept on file. This is a document that notifies the state that you're operating a private school. It's not asking permission from the state. The state creates a directory of all the private schools in the state, including single-family private schools, or what we refer to as homeschools. The affidavit does not establish your school, it just reports it during the reporting period in October each year. CHIA or SCOPE can help you fill out this form each year. And last, you keep student medical records such as immunization information or waivers. To get the Blue Card vaccine waiver, you can visit fpmca.org to download that to keep on file. This process establishes your private school in the state of California and would be the same process you'd use if you prefer to use an out-of-state school as your curriculum provider. Note that when you're asked about your child's school enrollment, such as during community college enrollment, you can choose Attended California School. There's no separate homeschool only option in California. So that's it. These requirements are straightforward, and thousands of families across California meet them every year with confidence and success. When you're ready to begin as a private school, the first step is to withdraw your child from their current school. Even if your child never attended a day, like a kindergarten who was enrolled but never attended, you still need to officially withdraw them. You need to do this even if your child attended another private school or charter program. Here are the steps. First, name your new school and create a letterhead using the new school name if you'd like. In order to avoid truancy charges, you need to transfer enrollment from the old school to your new private school. First, send a letter as the parent notifying the old school that the student will now be enrolled in the new school. Use the name of your new private school. Do not use the word homeschool, as this is not a legal category in California and can create confusion with school administrators. For verification, mail via certified mail. Put on your school administrator hat. As the new school administrator, not as a parent, you're going to transfer records from the old school to the new school. This is the step that legally enrolls your child in your homeschool program. But again, don't use the word homeschool in communication with the previous school. You're a private school administrator. The form letters you can use to withdraw and transfer records are available for download on the CHIA website. The old school is legally required to send you the student records. If you have trouble, contact HSLDA. Congratulations! Your school now exists. You can begin teaching whenever you wish. If it's summer or August or September, you'll wait until October 1st through 15th to file the affidavit with the state, notifying them of your school. If you're starting the process after October 15th, you can file the affidavit at any time. Write a course of study for each child. There are forms for this on the CHIA website as well, and you can also meet with SCOPE leaders to get personalized recommendations for your family. Print out an attendance record for the year so that you can mark it off as you go. Print out your vaccination and health records and file in a binder along with your other records for each child. Make a list of the reasons you're qualified to teach your own child and file that as teacher qualifications in your binder as well. Keep records of your students' progress. You can keep report cards, grade reports, or transcripts as you see fit. These few steps give you a clear paper trail as you begin. Let's review. To keep everything organized and ready, we recommend setting up a simple binder four-year private school. Inside, keep these 6 things. First, course of study, a basic overview of what subjects your children will study. 2, attendance records for each child. A simple log or calendar works fine. 3, report cards for each year. These don't have to be fancy, just a record of progress. 4, California health and immunization records, or waivers if applicable. Again, you can download the blue cards for this form from the fpmca.org website. 5, teacher qualifications, since you, as the administrator, determine you're capable of teaching. And 6, you need to keep a copy of your filed affidavit each October. That's it, 6 items in one binder. Keeping them together makes record keeping simple, organized, and stress-free. When it comes to planning your homeschool year, remember a few key principles. First, private schools, including single-family private schools like yours, must cover the traditional subjects. But here's the freedom. As a private school, you set your own requirements. You choose how and when those subjects are taught. Second, you don't have to fit everything into a rigid daily plan. Some families teach a subject every day, others rotate weekly, and some even work quarterly, focusing deeply on one subject at a time. This flexibility is one of the great strengths of homeschooling. When my children were young, I wanted to cover California history. So one year, when my older kids were a 3rd grader, 4th grader, and a 6th grader, we all did it together. So I didn't need to teach the same thing every year to one kid at a time. I taught California history again when my younger 3 were in 3rd grade and 5th grade. Just because the state says public schools have to do California history in 4th grade doesn't mean you have to. Private homeschooling gave me the flexibility to teach it twice instead of 5 times. You can do the same with literature or other subjects. Third, to guide your planning, you can look at something called a scope and sequence. This is simply a roadmap of what to teach and when to teach it, and curriculum publishers provide these for you. You don't have to invent it yourself. These publishers, many of them homeschoolers or private schools themselves, have already mapped out grade level plans, making it easy to stay on track while still adapting to your child's pace and needs. So you're not alone and you're not guessing. You're choosing from well-designed resources that give you confidence and direction. If you'd like a consultation to develop a plan for your children, Scope leaders would be happy to meet with you personally. One of the questions parents often ask is, do I have to test my children? The good news is no. In California, private schools are not required to report test results to the state. So in public schools, standardized testing is designed to hold schools accountable to parents and to taxpayers. But in homeschooling, you, the parent, are already directly responsible to yourself. The best evaluation of your child's progress comes through your one-on-one instruction, the daily feedback that you see, and the work that you review together. That said, some families find testing useful as a tool. It can provide a broad picture of strengths and weaknesses or help you see where your child may need extra support. If you'd like to use testing, there's many options, such as the Iowa test through BJU Press or the Classic Learning Test. And remember, testing is a tool, not a requirement. Use it if it helps, but rest assured you're already giving your child the best evaluation possible through the close attention that you provide every day. One test available to California students is the California Proficiency Program, often called the CPP. This program uses the HiSET test. When a student passes the language arts and mathematics sections of the exam, they are awarded a certificate of proficiency from the California State Board of Education. Under California Education Code, this certificate is legally equivalent to a high school diploma issued by the state. Once a student has earned the certificate of proficiency, they have options. They may choose to continue in high school, or with a parent or guardian's permission, they may exit high school to begin higher education or start their career. It's one more example of the flexibility available to families in California. Parents sometimes ask, what's the difference between the California Proficiency Program and the GED? So the CPP, which uses the HiSET exam, awards a certificate of proficiency that comes directly from California State Board of Education. By law, it's the legal equivalent of a high school diploma in California. It's designed for minors, students under 18 who are academically ready to move forward. With parent permission, students who pass may leave high school early or choose to stay enrolled. All individuals and institutions subject to California law that require a high school diploma are required to accept the CPP diploma as requirement fulfillment. Some parents choose to have their child take this exam and get the state equivalency diploma because many trade schools and other institutions will accept it in lieu of an accredited diploma. Your child can still get a diploma from your private homeschool, but this is an additional way to have outside verification. In addition, the CPP diploma exempts your child from work permit requirements. The GED, on the other hand, is a high school equivalency diploma, and it's recognized nationwide. It's primarily for adults, although in some cases 17-year-olds may qualify. Both the CPP and the GED provide an alternative to the traditional high school diploma, but the CPP is unique because it's issued by the California State Board of Education and is an option available specifically to younger students here in California, while the GED is typically recommended for adults. Now let's talk about one of the most exciting and sometimes overwhelming parts of homeschooling, choosing curriculum. First, be encouraged. There's no such thing as a perfect curriculum. Every family and every child is different. What works beautifully for one student may not fit another, and that's okay. Part of the joy of homeschooling is the freedom to find what works best for your family. A quick caution, be careful with free or purely online programs. While apps and websites can be wonderful supplements, they usually aren't designed to be a full education. No phone app is going to teach your child to read and think well by itself. Children need interaction, discussion, and guidance. And that's where you come in. One common question is accreditation. It's important to understand that only schools can be accredited, not curriculum. If you use an accredited out-of-state program, the diploma you issue from your private homeschool will not be accredited. The word accredited can sound impressive, but it simply doesn't apply to curriculum or to single-family private schools. So where should you start? We recommend looking at trusted reviews such as Kathy Duffy's 100 Top Picks for Homeschool Curriculum. You can also explore catalog and online companies like Rainbow Resource or ChristianBook.com. Locally, we're blessed to have resources like Kingdom Builder Books in Roseville, which carries both new and used curriculum. Remember, you're not alone in choosing curriculum. Lean on the wisdom of other families, reviews, and communities like Scope. With so many excellent options, you'll be able to find what works for your children. There's no one-size-fits-all when it comes to choosing curriculum. The best choice will depend on your family's unique mix of strengths and needs. Start with considering your teaching style as a parent. Are you crafty and love hands-on projects, activity-oriented, more relaxed and flexible? Do you enjoy games and interaction? Your comfort level as a teacher makes a big difference in whether a curriculum feels natural for you. Second, consider the number of students you're teaching. If you have several children, you may want a curriculum that lets you combine subjects like history or science so that you're not juggling completely separate lessons for each grade. Or you may gravitate to more independent study options. Finally, consider your preferred schooling method. Some families like the structure of traditional textbooks. Others love the depth of classical education. Some prefer unit studies, weaving subjects together around one theme. And some are delight-directed, following the child's interests while still covering the basics. The key is this: there's freedom to choose a method and a curriculum that truly fits your family. And remember, you don't have to get it perfect the first time. Many parents adjust and refine as they go, finding what works best over time. Most curriculum falls into three main categories: materials designed specifically for families, resources created for independent study, and traditional textbook programs. And here's the good news: you don't have to choose just one. Most families use a blend. You might teach some subjects directly, let your students work independently in others, and use video or online curriculum in areas where you're less confident. For example, you don't have to know physics yourself. You can use a video course taught by an expert. We'll look at each of these three categories more closely in the next few slides. One style of curriculum that many families love is what we call cycle teaching. The idea is simple. You teach the same topic to multiple grade levels at once. Instead of studying a topic just once in one grade, students visit it in cycles, going deeper each time as they grow older. Year 1 might be all your children learning together as you study U.S. history, literature, and U.S. geography, apologetics, and physical science. But the next year, everyone does ancient history, Bible stories, and astronomy. A kindergartner might just listen to the stories in color, while a high schooler is reading original sources and writing papers. A few years later, you come back around to ancient history again, this time at a more advanced level. The benefit is that the whole family can learn together, and you're not trying to teach 4 different history topics at once, but each child engages at their own level. It also reinforces mastery since topics are studied multiple times instead of just once. Some well-known examples of this approach include The Well-Trained Mind, Classical Conversations, My Father's World, Tapestry of Grace, and Weaver Unit Studies. This style can bring a sense of rhythm and unity to your homeschool while giving your kids a rich, connected understanding of the world. Another category of curriculum is what we call independent study. These are programs designed for students to learn directly from an expert, whether through video lessons, online platforms, or carefully written workbooks. In this model, the parent's role shifts from being the primary teacher to being the facilitator. You make sure lessons get done, check progress, and offer help when needed, but the instruction itself comes directly from the program or teacher. So this approach is especially helpful if you're teaching multiple children or if there are subjects where you feel less confident. For example, math and science often work well with this model since students can learn directly from a specialist. Some examples of independent study programs include Alpha Omega Press, Christian Light Education, ACE PACES in workbook format, or teaching textbooks, and Shorman Math and Science for video-based math and science instruction. Compass Classroom and Essentials in Writing also provide high-quality video teaching in the humanities. Independent study doesn't mean hands-off parenting. It means you're free to focus on facilitating, encouraging, and guiding your child while letting subject experts handle the instruction. The third major category of homeschool curriculum is the traditional textbook approach. This is the style that feels the most familiar to what many of us experienced in school: structured textbooks with lesson plans and daily schedules. What makes textbooks for homeschoolers unique, however, is that many of them are written specifically with families in mind. They often include teacher guides, daily assignments, and pacing schedules that tell you exactly what to read and cover each day. This makes planning much simpler and helps you stay on track. So families who like structure and clear direction often find textbooks a great fit. They provide a sense of order and you can always know what comes next. Some of the most popular textbook-based resources include Classical Academic Press, Berean Builders, Apologia, Abeka, Rod and Staff, BJU, and Homeworks by Precept, and Master Books. So we've looked at 3 main types of curriculum: family-centered, independent study, and traditional textbooks. But the truth is most families use a blend of all 3. You might teach some subjects directly, use video lessons or independent study for others, and rely on structured textbooks where you want extra guidance. And that's the beauty of homeschooling, the flexibility to choose what works best for your family and for each child. There's no one right way, just the freedom to create a plan that fits. If you need assistance creating a plan, please consider joining Scope, and other families can share with you what has worked for them. As you enter the high school years, there's a few important things to keep in mind. First, if you plan to transfer your student back to public school in grades 10 through 12, be aware that the school may not accept your homeschool credits for graduation purposes. That's because of how accredited diplomas work in the public system. However, if you're homeschooling under 10th grade, schools always place students back based on age, so this issue doesn't come up. For families planning to continue in private homeschooling through high school, know this: colleges have no problem accepting homeschool transcripts. In fact, they often appreciate the unique strengths homeschoolers bring: independence, initiative, and a well-rounded background. Strong transcripts backed up with test scores or community college courses demonstrate academic readiness very clearly. High school can actually be one of the best times to homeschool. It's a chance to give your teen flexibility, deeper learning, and real-world opportunities. There's also many resources available. Scope offers a graduation ceremony for those who've been members for 2 years prior, and a teen and parent group. CHIA and HSLDA provide workshops and articles specifically about high school planning. You can also take advantage of community college dual enrollment, video lectures, online learning, extracurricular activities, and even internships. High school is a season full of opportunity, and homeschooling gives you the freedom to make the most of it. Homeschooling can be an incredible blessing for families with special needs as well. One of the biggest benefits is one-on-one attention. In a home setting, your child isn't lost in a classroom of 30 students. You can focus entirely on their needs, strengths, and progress. Homeschooling also gives flexibility in pacing and methods. Some children need extra time to master skills, while others may excel quickly in certain areas. At home, you can adjust without pressure, moving as fast or as slow as your child needs. It also provides a safe and nurturing environment. Many children with special needs thrive in the security of home, where distractions and social pressures are reduced. Homeschooling allows you to integrate therapies, hands-on activities, or breaks into your child's day as needed. You can also collaborate with professionals while still keeping your child's education centered in the family. For many families, homeschooling isn't just a good option for special needs, it's the best one because it provides the freedom, stability, and personal attention their child truly deserves. I highly recommend you visit spedhomeschool.com. They have resources which include support therapies you can do at home, curriculum ideas, and other special education assistance for homeschoolers. One of the most common questions about homeschooling is socialization. The truth is, homeschoolers have plenty of opportunities to build friendships and community. Locally, families can get involved in activities like sports, speech and debate clubs, theater productions, choir groups, regular park days, and programs like 4-H. These activities give students the chance to work with peers, build confidence, and develop teamwork skills. The best socialization doesn't happen in a classroom, it happens in real life with parent support. And homeschooling provides freedom to engage with people of all ages in meaningful, lasting ways. We maintain a list of businesses such as homeschool sports leagues or speech and debate clubs and other opportunities for your family that you can use in the Sacramento area, and Scope members can find that information on our website. So how do you get started? First, join HSLDA for legal protection and formally transfer your child's enrollment into your new private school. That gives you peace of mind and a strong foundation. Second, prepare for new routines. Homeschooling doesn't look like a classroom. It takes time to find your rhythm. Start slowly and be patient with yourself and with your children. Keep the long-term perspective. You're building something that lasts a lifetime. And along the way, don't forget to plan some fun. Homeschooling gives you the freedom to enjoy field trips, adventures, and learning together as a family. Finally, commit to ongoing parent education. Stay connected, attend workshops, read, and learn from other homeschoolers. Growth as a parent makes you stronger as a homeschool teacher. Homeschooling is more than an educational choice. It's a calling, and you don't walk it alone. God is faithful, and He will equip you for the good work He's placed in your hands. Before we wrap up, I want to offer some optional reading recommendations, and please know there's no pressure to read more. You don't need to consume a stack of books to be a great homeschool parent. But if you want to go deeper, there are excellent resources available. The homeschool movement isn't new or experimental. There are decades of experience, research, and expertise behind it. Many of the books I recommend are written by professors and educational experts who have studied and practiced homeschooling extensively. So here are 3 that I've found personally to be practical. First, You Can Teach Your Child Successfully by Ruth Beechick. It's a classic written by an educator who equips parents with simple, practical tools for teaching. 102 Top Picks for Homeschool Curriculum by Kathy Duffy. This is a helpful guide for curriculum reviews, helping you sort through options and choose what fits your family best. The Well-Trained Mind by Susan Wise-Bauer and Jessie Wise is a thorough guide to classical education in the home, offering a framework for rigorous literature-rich learning from K through 12. These books have been very practical and supportive for me personally. Morning Time by Cindy Rollins is an inspiring look at how shared family learning can build joy and connection. The California Homeschool Manual by Susan Beatty is a practical guide tailored to homeschooling here in California. And Teaching from Rest by Sarah Mackenzie is a refreshing reminder to approach homeschooling with peace, trust, and confidence instead of stress. These books include lots of how-to tips to make homeschooling doable. And finally, to finish up my list, here are a few books that go deeper into the philosophy of Christian education. The Liberal Arts Tradition by Kevin Clark and Ravi Jain is a rich look at classical Christian education and its enduring framework. For the Children's Sake by Susan Schaefer Macaulay is an inspiring call to treat children as persons and provide them with a life-giving education. Education, Does God Have an Opinion by Israel Wayne is a biblical defense of Christian education and God's perspective on how children should be taught. And finally, Foundations of Christian Education by Cornelius Van Til and Louis Berkhoff is a foundational work on Christian worldview in education, challenging us to see all of learning through the lens of Scripture. So these resources invite us to think deeply about the why of education, grounding our homeschool journey in biblical conviction and time-tested wisdom. Thank you so much for allowing me to share about homeschooling and the resources available to you. Remember, you're not alone. Scope exists to walk alongside you, to provide encouragement, training, and community as you pursue the calling of raising our children. If you'd like to stay connected, you can find us at scopehome.org or reach out by email at info@scopehome.org. We'd love to answer your questions, connect you with resources, and welcome you into the community.